2 right now. We're recording it, so if somebody jumps in, they can. What's up, Dylan? But we'll get started. So this is the Hunt Swap webinar. So pretty much, if you don't know what a hunt swap is, it's where you hunt or fish with another member, and they're going to come to your state and hunt and fish with you. Um, Really, I've always told people you can think outside the box. It doesn't have to just be whitetail or just be elk. We do have a lot of members that do that, but it can be anything. I've been to New York fishing. I have been to northern Florida fishing, Pennsylvania. So it can be pretty much whatever you want as far as swapping. Now, kind of how I always start a hunt swap is kind of like the first step here um, is going to be networking. So you can go on to the hunt swap group on the app and you can see where the hunt swaps are posted. They're also on the website. So you have the website and you have the app, which if you don't know where the groups are at, it's going to be in the top left-hand corner in the menu bar. A lot of people call it the hamburger bar. So you're going to click on that. You're going to go down to groups. If you're a paying member, which everyone here is, you should have access to that group. You can click on there. You're going to see what's hosted. So first things first, you can see what people already have. But I always like to tell everyone, get to know that person, talk. A lot of people text or message each other, things like that. You really want to get to know that person just because I believe it makes for a lot better hunt swap when you click with the person. You're going to be able to tell from little conversations you have. A lot of people can tell right off the bat. Sometimes it takes meeting someone, but get to know that person. I definitely feel like, I mean, I've been on at least 12 or 13 of these things. I have 3 of them this year. Within the next couple of weeks, I just got back from one this past weekend. And one thing I always do is I get to know the person about hunting and not. And that really sets you up, I believe, for a good trip. So we'll move right along here. Does anybody have any questions as far as networking with people and where to find hunt swaps and things like that? Okay, cool. So moving on, um, networking is step one. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is, and this is for mainly for the host, so the person that is hosting the hunt swap, you're going to want to set the expectations. Okay, so I'm going to use me as an example, just because I want the most realistic example to let you guys know. So when someone comes down to Florida, we normally hunt public land. Okay, so normally I do turkey hunt swaps because Florida is the only state that has the Osceola bird. The feathers are darker than what the other turkeys are. But a lot of people want to come down here to get their Grand Slam or just to hunt Florida, and turkey is what I have to offer. So turkey and fishing. But what I do is I always set that expectation. Hey, we're going to be hunting public land. I will put the work into it. So I'm not just going to sit at home and have you spend some money and come down and we just go out there and wing it. I'm going to have cameras out. I'm going to scout the area. Turkey hunting is kind of my thing. So I'm going to get out there. I'm really going to put the work in and try to get us as close to the birds as possible, and at least know where they're roosting, things like that. So setting that expectation. Hey, I'm hunting public land. It's hunting. There's a chance that we might not kill something. I always let everyone know we're going to try. And I would say probably about 85 to 90% of the time we are successful, but there's still that chance that something may happen and we're not successful. So just set that expectation, I believe, right out the gate. If that's your situation with you're hunting public land or you're hunting a piece of land that it's not really on lock. Now that doesn't mean private land is completely on lock, because we all know it's hunting, and anything can happen. But whatever the case may be, set that expectation so that they're aware of what's going to happen. And also, I kind of throw into that expectation is like what the weather is going to be like. So, hey, it's going to be raining the whole time. Or when I was just in Ohio this past weekend, it was raining, it was snowing, it was cold, and it was really windy. It was 15 to 30 mile an hour winds. So, Tucker let me know, hey, this is what the weather is going to be like. If you still want to proceed, we'll get out there and we'll hit it hard, but, it's not going to be quiet, cold, and crisp. Those perfect hunting situations. Yeah, the the weather is crazy. I figured that out when it was 70 degrees 1 hour, and then 3 hours later it was 34. So definitely crazy weather there. But set that expectation. Does anybody have any questions about that? Like setting that expectation, kind of what that means? Really, I just simplify it as just be honest with the person. If you got 30 birds coming to your feeder and they're coming, and then when season comes in a lot of the states you have to put the feeder away and things like that, but if you have that happening and you can guarantee that, just be honest, hey, that's what's happening. If not, set that standard. That person is going to have to spend some money to get there. So just put that out there. 9 times out of 10 people don't care. Someone like me, I don't care if I kill something or not. I just want to hunt another state and have a good time, and we're definitely going to give it hell. So setting dates. So one thing I like to tell everyone is with setting dates, and you guys let me know if I'm going too fast. Just drop a comment here in the section. But one thing that I like to say about setting dates, respect people's time as far as with people with vacation. If somebody's like, hey, I'm not working the next 3 months, whenever is good with me, that's fine. But just make sure that when you're setting dates, it's something that you can make happen. As far as if I'm going to take up, like if I'm going to go to Ohio last Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, me and Tucker talked and said, hey, you're going to be able to miss work Thursday and Friday. I checked with my boss to make sure I could miss work Thursday and Friday, make sure we were covered, and we coordinated our schedules to say, hey, both of us can miss work. It's locked in. We're ready to go. Set those dates. And I like to set mine out in advance, but obviously we know stuff happens. We've all seen it. So if something does happen, just give that person a heads up. It's going to go a long way. It's an unwritten rule. Reach out to them and say, hey, I know our turkey trip's in 2 weeks. Something happened with work. I'm not going to be able to go. Um, I don't want to scare anyone, but I am going to be honest. There's been times where uh, I've had people, bail on me, and then there's been times where I've had something happen unexpected, and I've had to bail on them. Whether it be a death in the family, you get sick, work gets shorthanded. I mean, it can be anything, and no one's here to judge. But just let that person know when you lock those dates in. It'll definitely make the hunt swap a lot easier when it's planned out and it's scheduled. Let's see here. So moving on. So we went over networking, so meeting the person. We went over setting those expectations of what to expect on the hunt. We've went over setting the dates. So now the next thing is going to be logistics. So pretty much what I mean by logistics is food, shelter, travel. So obviously, if I'm going to Georgia in December, I'm going to drive there. It's about 3.5 hours from me. So I can drive there. I'm going to spend gas, obviously. I'm going to get to that state, and if you're flying to another state, you're obviously going to have to get a ticket. I always just search, to be honest with you, I just Google plane tickets. Normally, I fly American Airlines just because they normally have the cheapest ticket. I can normally go to a state for like 150 bucks. That's normally the case most of the time, especially if you can get it a few months out. So that's not really breaking the bank. And then if you're flying with a bow or a rifle or what have you, your weapon, you can check a bag. The one thing I'm not preaching or trying to sponsor American Airlines over here, but you can take a book bag, you can take a carry-on, and you can also you can have your check bag. So I literally spend 30 bucks to take all my stuff. I cram it all in a duffel bag. And then I bring my book bag with like my binos, my safety harness, things like that. So let's see here. So travel. So whether you're gonna fly or you're gonna drive, you're gonna have to figure that out. I always tell everyone sooner than later. You don't want to wait till the last minute to get a plane ticket. You might get a great deal, you might not. So I would definitely, as soon as you lock that date in, I would definitely get that plane ticket. Obviously, I don't think plane tickets are refundable, but they are transferable. So you can move the dates. I actually moved mine a couple days before from Friday to Thursday, and it was free of charge. So that is something that you can also do. Um, and as far as food, obviously, when you go somewhere, you got to eat. Okay. I've stayed with people and we've cooked food at their house and we just bought some groceries and split the bill. And then other times I've been there and 3 meals a day we were eating out. So it really just depends on the situation. Um, when you, let's see here, Gauge my connection. So what I'm catching. All right. Sorry about that, Gauge. Just try to bear with me. If anyone else notices me cutting out, just let me know. But we'll also have the recording. But we're talking about food. So as far as food, obviously you're going to have to eat. So just make sure you're budgeted for that. When people come to my house, we just get some groceries. There's a Publix right down the street. We'll grab some groceries. We'll split the bill. We'll cook dinners. I've cooked out in the field with members. Whatever the case may be, we can go out, grab dinner, but just kind of plan for that. Don't travel to another state and not really bring that extra cash or figure out how you're going to eat, because you got to remember you're going to eat 3 meals a day. Even if you don't eat a lot, still plan to make sure you're covering that basis. So that's travel, that's food, and then where are you staying? So I have a guest room. I have two guest rooms actually. So people will stay with me, and that's kind of where that getting to know someone comes in. Okay. So you want to get to know them, because if they're going to stay at your house, obviously you just want to see if you're going to get along and things like that. But people will stay with me. I have plenty of room, things like that. I've went places this past weekend. Tucker's getting his house built. So I stayed in a motel. I just got one right near his house. I looked some up. I coordinated with him and said, "Hey, how far is this from your house?" It was like 3 minutes. So went ahead and got that motel room. It was like $50 a night. It was fine. I was only sleeping there. I was waking up every day at 4:30 and leaving and coming back at dark, almost 10, 11 o'clock at night. So that let's see. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at there. So is everyone tracking so far? I'm not. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. Um, there's not much to hunt swaps. It's mainly a lot of the small details. So just let me know if I'm going too fast. Let's see here. So moving on, gear. All right. So when it comes to gear, if you're coming down to Florida, you're going to want to bring base layers. You're going to want to bring moisture wicking clothes, mud boots because you're going to get wet, rain gear. That's what you're going to want to bring. So, as the host, I'm going to let them know, hey, it's springtime in Florida. It's going to rain. Bring your rain gear. If you don't have rain gear, let me know. I'll get you set up. It's completely cool. If you don't want to fly with it, things like that, it's fine. So just let your person know as the host. You want to make sure the host is letting them know what the weather is going to be like. Obviously, the guest can look up the weather, but you live there, so you're going to know. When I went to Ohio, he told me dress for 30-degree weather. Bring layers, bring your rain gear. That's how it's going to happen. Make sure you got your harness. We got tie off ropes. We already got the double stands in the tree, and we already have the camera arm, so you don't need that. So when it comes to gear, just talk to each other, because I tell you what, I really liked not bringing my camera arm because he already had it set up. I liked not traveling with my sticks or my stand. That really helped me out. It saved me some money. So talk to that person on the gear. Make sure you're covering footwear, clothing, and like extreme elements is the best way I like to put it. Let's see here. Um, so covering gear there, and we'll dive more into these if you guys want to. Just throw it up on the comments. So tags, permits, and licenses. Don't know how everyone's state is, but in Florida, you'll have a piece of WMA. So that's public land. That's our national forest or state land. And it'll be connected to another piece of WMA and have another one on top of it. And all three WMAs will have separate rules. It doesn't matter if it's rifle season, bow season. One of them you can bow hunt during rifle. The other one you cannot bow hunt during rifle. One of them you can only hunt on weekends. So make sure that you guys talk and let each person know. So I would be hunting in Richland. That's where we would turkey hunt if we came down here. You can use a shotgun. Let's see here, the 30 minutes before shooting light, things like that. As far as the shooting light, we're going to go through all the rules. What I normally do is I print the brochure for that WMA, and I'll actually send it to the person that I'm hunting with, and then we'll go over it kind of when we're sitting here that first day when we get in, having a drink, just kind of talking. I'm like, hey, you can kill two birds. You can't kill a hen in the spring, things like that. Just letting them know the rules, help them out, show them where to get the information from, and just look everything up. But the thing is, you want to make sure you understand that area's rules, because this has never happened to me and I have never heard horror stories. But you don't want to go to another state, not know the rules, and then that be at the time a game warden walks up or something happens. You don't want to deal with it when it takes you about, I'd say, 3 minutes to read the brochure, if that. So just read it. Make sure you go over that. Let's see, Dylan, I'll get you in a second. So tags, licenses, same thing. As the host, let them know, hey, you're going to need a turkey permit here. You're going to need a WMA stamp. You're going to need a hunting license. That's all you will need for turkey hunting here. I like to, on the hunt swap, the more information, the better. So if I'm going to host a hunt swap, I'm going to want to have that in the information. I'm going to want to have where I'm located, maybe the closest city I'm at. What tags are you going to need? The WMA I'm hunting. Give them as much information as possible. The more, the better. It's just going to save a lot of time, and you can actually spend that time hunting. So if you put that time into it, you can spend the time hunting, which is great on our hunt swaps that we have here. Sun up to sundown is always how we usually do it, and it really works with that pre-planning. So when you're hosting a hunt swap, put that information in the description. If you're wanting to go on a hunt swap, just make sure you talk to that host about all that stuff. Okay. So Dylan has a question. Let's see here. So do you film your hunt swaps or help film? So that's actually a great question, Dylan. So um, I've been slacking lately because we've been doing a lot of run and gun hunting. So I haven't been filming as much as I should or I want to, but we do film. Normally, I film when someone comes down here turkey hunting. I will film for the whole experience. I've done it multiple times. I'll leave the shotgun at home, honestly, and I'll just bring my pistol, and I will film. That's something that I do, but just kind of talk it out with the person. Um, See what they think. When I went up there to hunt with Tucker and Trevor, they called it camera duty. They did the same thing. Tucker filmed for me, and Trevor filmed for me the last day when he got back into town. So normally that's how it works, but just talk to the person because maybe they want to hunt too with you. It could be maybe their only week or weekend or whatever that they're hunting. So just kind of talk it out. But normally, yes, I do film when someone comes down here and hunts with me. Let's see here. Um, so tags, licenses, permits. If you guys ever have any issues with this, reach out to me. Probably been to about maybe like 8 states or so altogether. So I do have their apps, but a lot of these states have apps. I know Florida does, Georgia does, Ohio did. Some of them you got to buy the tags over the counter. So that's really where that host is going to come in. If I'm hunting in Wyoming with Johnny, those are over the counter tags. So you're going to want to talk to them and see what are you going to have to do. I think it gets a little more difficult when you go out west. I know with Florida, you can literally get on your phone and in 30 seconds, you'll have your license. It's very, very fast. It's very efficient. But With those out west states, I haven't actually been out there yet, but that's going to be a little more planning. You're definitely going to have to dive into what tags you need, and really talk to that person and make sure you're covering those bullet points of those tags and licenses and permits. Okay. Um, so let's see here. So we kind of touched on this, but states, areas, and regulations, everywhere is different, y'all. Everywhere is different. Don't think that because rifle season's in one state that it's going to be in the rest of the state. You really got to make sure you put that research in. Um, that should be something that the host is kind of putting in to the information, but talk to each other. Everyone's different. Um, so that kind of goes with that. Now, this is probably um, the most. I tell you what, before we get started on this, does anyone have any questions? So we kind of went over like the setup of a hunt swap, like that pregame. What are you doing? Now we're about to hit the hunting part. So this is going to be the good stuff. Um, Hunter safety is applicable anywhere, correct? Yes, Jason, that's a great question. So as far as I know when I moved to Florida and got my license, I had a Virginia hunter safety course from 2001, I believe it was. I can't even remember. It might have been 2001, something like that. So I actually entered my information in. Everything went through fine, and that was super old. So um, yes, as far as I know, Torin can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure hunter safety courses are applicable in all states as long as you got it through your actual state. I'm pretty sure it's recognized. Um, just like I said, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but that's always what I've known. Do you guys have any more questions as far as the pre-gaming? All right, cool. So we'll move on here. Um, so to me, I think this is a really important part of a hunt swap. Ethics and the unwritten rule. Okay, so this is the best way I like to put it. Respect that person's property, their time. Hopefully, they respect yours also. We should have mutual respect. I've always had it with everyone I've went, so I don't want y'all to think that this is something I've ran into and it. But anything can happen. Okay, you don't really know the person. Even if you do know the person, you're talking online. Just make sure you respect their property. As far as hunting their land, if you're hunting their private land or if you're going to public land, I like to put it like this: like I know it's public land and we don't own spots. The public belongs to everyone, but I believe that we should all have a respect. I wouldn't go hunt public land in Ohio and then go up there with 15 buddies and do it again the next day, without my partner or the person I'm hunt swapping with. Um, I just feel like it's ethics. It's just respect. It's mutual respect. That's that person's property. They put the work into it. They put the time. If someone comes down here to Florida, I'll be honest with you, with turkey hunting, they can go out to the spots. It's a really heavily hunt WMA. It's not a big deal to me with that. But my deer hunting spots, I would be a little bit more, upset if somebody came down and, on their own time and kind of didn't say anything and just went to your spot. Um, I just feel like ethics is a really big part of a hunt swap. Just respect each other. I kind of like lay down the ground rules when I get there. When people come down here, I usually have a special bottle of bourbon. I let them know, like, hey, do you drink? Do you mind if I'm gonna drink in my house, obviously, but when we go out, obviously we're responsible, and when we're handling firearms, we're not drinking things like that. But really talk to the person. I like to just have mutual respect. If someone's coming to my house, I just wanna say, hey, these are the things I like. Lock the door at night. If you smoke, please go outside. We take our boots off at the door. Things like that. Just respect that person's property, because I promise you, I've always respected everyone that I've went to. I've always had an invitation back. I actually got invited to Thanksgiving dinner at Tucker and Trevor's grandparents' house, which actually meant a lot to me. to be able to eat with the family. They were having kind of an early Thanksgiving because a lot of the family was going over to different states. They had some horse shows and things like that that was happening. So um, they invited me to dinner. I thought that was so awesome. I literally sat there with his grandparents and him and his family. I really felt um, like a part of the family is kind of the best way to put it. So when I was near his grandparents, and this is kind of what I'm getting at, we don't cuss near them. Okay, so I cuss a lot. It is what it is. I'm a cusser. I was in the army for 6 years. I try my best to hold a filter, but I do curse a lot. So Tucker let me know, like, hey man, just make sure we're not cussing near my grandparents. I just want to let you know we're not going to drink alcohol near them, things like that. So I really, I respected them for that. I said, hey, no problem. I will definitely not cuss near your grandparents. My grandparents, they probably might not care. But my other set of grandparents, they might care. So just make sure that you're respecting that person's rules, because you kind of are at their place. And you just want to really have that unwritten rule. And then last thing, just remember when you're hunting their areas, listen to them. It's kind of their spot, obviously within reason of ethics and being legal. But if someone's doing something illegal or unethical, definitely say something and let them know. Let's see here. So we got a question. Dylan, I'm getting into some bourbons lately. Good stuff. Yeah, I like a good bourbon, man. I'm not much of a drinker, but I do enjoy a good bourbon. We always get a really nice one when someone comes down and we'll drink. And we actually go to bed early in my house on hunt swaps. We don't stay up too late. I don't know if it's because everyone that comes down is my age or what, but we're usually in bed by like 10, 11 o'clock. But we're ready to get up and hunt the next day. I guess that's just being diehard hunters. So don't need to harp on that too much, but just everyone respect everyone. I look at it as, what, even though it's public land, that's their spot. I'm never going to go hunt it without them or without their permission. That's just the way I look at it. No one had to teach me that or tell me that. I know my grandparents and my uncles taught me to hunt, and that's just kind of what they instilled on me. Even to this day, I don't go to my family's spots that they hunt. We actually don't even really talk about where we're at. We'll say, hey, we were over this way or whatever. So, and it's not because we don't want someone to be successful. It's just, that's just kind of the way it is. So just have that respect, which we got a good group of people here. So I don't think that'll ever be an issue. Let's see here. So moving on, the hunt swap. So this is the best part. This is the most amazing part. And it's when you actually go hunting. So with me, when we come down here, we hunt from dark to dark. A lot of the other places I go to, we hunt dark to dark. But if you don't want to hunt dark to dark, or you want to hunt half days or hunt till lunch and then go eat lunch, just kind of set that expectation to the person. Hey, I leave at lunch every day at 11 o'clock. We're gonna go eat and then we're gonna get back in there. That's fine. Just make sure you guys talk about it and things like that. Let's see here. So when you go out hunting, just obviously remember you're with someone else. Safety's key. If you're turkey hunting, things like that, make sure you identify your targets. The whole hunter safety course thing. Let's see here. I think that's probably going to be it as far as like the actual hunt swap. You just hunt. We hunt hard. So if you guys ever want to come down here, we're going to hunt super, super hard. That's just how we do it. We're going to get up at the crack of dawn. We're going to get some coffee. We're going to pack some sandwiches and we're going to hunt hard. If we get a bird, we might leave early. But normally that happens later in the day. I think when Tucker came down, we killed his bird like 12:30 or like 1 o'clock. So he came down at like probably like 1 or 2 a.m. and we left the house at 4. I lived a little farther than I do from the WMA now. So when you come down hunt, whether it's 1 day, 5 days, whatever the case may be, but don't feel like it's a job. When Tucker and Trevor came down last year, we hunted hard for days, like 3 or 4 days, nonstop, just crazy hunting. You know what we did on the next day? We fished. We went bass fishing, have a lake near my house. If you guys come down here, my girlfriend's sister owns a bunch of properties. They have lakes on them. We'll go do some bass fishing. We'll go down to the saltwater. We'll do some red fishing. All right, who's trying to come down to some bluegrass state? I'll definitely have to get up there, but um, just don't feel, like I said, we got tired, we went out fishing. I just asked them, I said, hey guys, you want to take a little turkey break, do some fishing? We actually fished in the creek. We rolled our pants up, took our shirts off because it was absolutely hot. It was probably, I'd say it was probably hitting at least 90 degrees or so, and we got hot. So we actually got in the creek. They got to see some gators. It was just a really good experience. We did some fishing. Trevor actually caught like a really nice bass, probably one of the biggest bass I think he's ever caught. And we caught a bunch of bluegill and crappie and things like that. We actually ended up having a fish fry while we cooked up some turkey. Let's see here. So Dylan said he'll come up there or come down there, Brennan. Let's see here. So sharing your story. So Dylan kind of brought this up with the filming. I always film and document when someone comes down here. I'm actually just ordered a new camera, a little bit better quality. So I'm always going to film when you come down, but share your story. Let's say you can't film. We didn't film much when I was in Ohio. It was snowing, it was raining. It was just, we were on deer all day. We had bucks walking under the stand all day. So, you couldn't do a lot of moving. The stand we were actually in was kind of in the open a little bit. So you had to sit still, and it was a double man stand. So you got me 6'5", 250 pounds. You got Trevor, 160, 170 or whatever, 6 foot tall. You got us sitting in a tree, in the open. So we're trying not to move much. We got bucks coming under us. We didn't get to get a ton of footage. We got some, but you can always share the story the other ways. Torrin does with the podcast. You can get on there, talk about your hunt swap. Just touch base with them, kind of tell them what happened with the hunt swap. Hey, I went to Florida. We hunted with Justin. Did some fishing. Did some hunting. Didn't get to film much. We'd love to talk about it though. We had some crazy experiences. We almost shot a bird. We had run jump in front of us. It was pouring down rain the whole time. We saw a 15-foot alligator come up to the boat, things like that. Share your story. The great thing about sharing your story is it kind of, in my opinion, opens the door for other hunt swap opportunities. You sharing your story could be someone saying, hey, that person's from my state and they went to Upper Peninsula in Michigan hunting, and maybe they hunt down in Texas and they're used to different type of terrain and they just been worried about it. IG story takeovers. Let's see what if anything is swap. So I don't use any good spots in my own yet. River. All right, so Jason, I kind of look at it like this. I always tell a lot of people we'll talk. I actually talked with this one guy in Louisiana a lot, and he kind of told me that. He's like, we kind of got the same things you have in Florida. We have red fishing, we have snook fishing, we have smaller deer. I think their deer is a little bit bigger. Swamp turkeys, things like that. He's kind of offering the same thing as me, but they have black squirrels. I've always wanted to hunt black squirrels. I think that's super cool. When I brought that up to him, he was like, "Oh, you would come here and hunt squirrel?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I would totally do that." And I'm sure there's more people that would want to do that also. But everyone has something to offer. So you were saying, let's see, you said, what like I just got into hunting, so I don't have any good spots of my own. And Jason, everyone respects someone that's just getting into hunting. If you're getting your feet wet, man, you can crawl before you walk. It's completely fine. Hunt your spots. Maybe talk to someone and say, "Hey, I'm starting to hunt this area. I'm getting used to it. I'd like to do your swap, and then maybe next year we can do mine, or maybe in a couple seasons we can come down here and I'll know that area a little bit better." If you think you're going to be in hunting, and that's something that you're going to want to continue to do, kind of just I always look at it like this: full transparency. Let the person know I'm just getting into hunting. I think being honest, 'cause I'll be honest with you, Jason. If somebody was like, hey, I'm just getting into hunting, I'd like to come hunt turkeys in Florida, but I don't really have nothing to offer, I would totally host them down here. Would not be an issue at all. We could work out details later. And honestly, with me, and I know everyone's different, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I enjoy working with new hunters and hunting with new hunters because everyone has something to learn from each other. And that's how you learn is hunting with other people and talking with other people and networking with other people. So just kind of take that with a grain of salt as far as you're a little newer, you said. So if there's something, if you don't feel confident with it yet, just don't worry about it. Just, let's say you want to go hunt, let's say you want to go hunt black-tailed deer out west. Just talk to that guy in New Mexico or Arizona. Just be honest with them. Let's see here. Torn, are you talking about the IG takeovers? Like the people will put the IG stuff on their story and just tag us in it?
So what we did the one year was, this is when we did the backpack hunt, I think. So as far as like sharing your story, what we've done in the past is you can send us the videos, just record them via like Snapchat or IG, download them on your phone, and then send them in to Justin. And we can see basically a play-by-play. We'll throw it up in the story of what's going on. So like if you're going in for an evening sit whitetail hunting, take a video of a buck coming through, talk with whoever you're on that hunt swap with. That's the kind of stuff we want to see and we want to share on our social media. And then kind of to piggyback off of what you said, Justin, don't undervalue what you have to offer. So for example, Jason, potentially in your situation being like a new hunter, you link up with somebody, you might be able to link up with somebody that just wants to hunt a new state. They might be a little bit more experienced, and you could be like, hey, I'm down here in state X. I'll be willing to room and board you. Why don't we hit this public land and we can work out the map situation. We can e-scout together via Zoom, blah, blah, blah. It's really, you're limiting yourself to your imagination. And a lot of people, what I think get caught up on with these hunt swaps is they don't feel like they have anything to value. And that's not really the case. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. So no matter what you think you devalue in your state, somebody's going to value that somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure, man. You couldn't have said it any better, and that's the you just kind of put it into words what I'm what I was thinking. That's a great way to word it. I honestly I never even really thought about that. So thanks for bringing that up. I go hunt another state and kind of tag team it together. That'd be awesome. And there's always someone willing to do that. I would. Now that you told me, I'm gonna have to hit some. Jason, where you live at?
Yeah, I mean, just the cost of the room and board alone is a deterrent for people to hunt out of state. And then you're going to throw up potentially a place for somebody to stay. That's going to save them money just to be able to hunt that state alone. And I guarantee you people will take you up on that.
And I tell you what, look at someone that's an expert that you would consider, or if someone does consider themselves an expert, man, talk about a challenge as a hunter. Like, hey, I'm going to go to Kentucky. I've never been in the mountains in my life, and I'm going to go try to get a mountain buck. It's I mean, that's the ultimate challenge there. Let's see here. Jason, Missouri. Man, boy, I would totally come hunt with you, Jason. Shoot, don't tell me tries touring. You ready?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
oh, Missouri, dude, you have enough to offer just by living in Missouri. From what I understand, you have a pretty good amount of public land, correct? Look, Dylan, he'll be about it. He's in Ohio. That's awesome, man. Yeah, well, all right. So let's see here. We'll move on. You guys just keep dropping your questions in the thing for you need me to slow down or stop. So we talked about sharing your story. So pretty much that's what I have for the hunt swap. I know I probably talked a lot here, and hopefully everyone understood everything. But the main things, it's the small stuff. Like Torrin said, think outside the box. No, one size does not fit all. think outside the box, use your imagination, talk to the person. That's the key. You got to talk to the person. Once you start talking and you start hitting your ideas together and stuff, I mean, the sky's the limit. So just make sure we're legal, make sure we're ethical. You know, you are representing Cervicide. I mean, you're representing hunters as a whole. Look at it that way. You know, just that respect, that mutual respect. And I promise you, you know, I've always told people this. That's one thing I keep in the back of my head when I go hunt with someone is I never have an issue respecting something or someone, but let's just say I did hypothetically. Let's just say I just was, you know, just one of those people that I just had a hard time doing that. The fact of being able to come back, I've always had an hope and invitation wherever I was at. I mean, I've even had the people say, "Hey, come hunt my land. I'm working." You know, so just it goes a long way. You'll have more future opportunities. Thing I know every time someone's came down here, I tell you what, that first turkey that they kill, we have such a it's such a rush. I mean, I'm telling you, it feels the same as if I pulled the trigger myself. So it's definitely a really good time. Let's see here, Jason. I'm still learning all that. Let's see, Brennan. Do we need to send the swaps through you guys before we post them onto the app? So Torin can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can post them straight up on the app. You can go to the Hunt Swap group. You can post it right up there. I always tell everyone, make sure you get a good picture up there. It's going to get a lot more looked at a lot easier, and people are going to look at it more when they actually see a photo, whether it's you and your buddy killed something in that spot you're taking them, or maybe 3 years ago you killed a 150-inch deer, whatever the case may be. Throw a photo up. And then as far as the website, so Torin, they can just go on the website and put in for the Hunt Swap, right?
Correct. So, kind of just to reiterate what Justin said there, for the app, you can go on and post that yourself and make sure that you put in the details in there so that you're giving as much information as possible to attract people to actually participate in the Hunt Swap. Like Justin said, have a good photo, but make sure with the app, make sure that you're saying something along the lines of, hey, shoot me a DM if you're interested, or leave a comment below if you're interested. That way you start that dialogue. And then if you guys want to make a private conversation, it can go through the DMs, text, whatever you want to do. For the website, there's actually a form to set up. And I highly recommend doing both Hunt Swaps on the website and the app, because some people get on the app and some people don't. Some people get on the website and don't get on the app, back and forth. So just by doing both, you have a higher likelihood of your Hunt Swap being seen. One of the other things, if you think this is potentially a good time, is I wanted to talk about some of the Hunt Swaps that have been done in the past.
Yeah, for sure. We're open mic, so go ahead, bro.
So, and this is kind of piggybacking off of the conversation that we had earlier, where people don't really think that they have stuff to offer other people. So, for example, Justin, you just got back from Ohio. How would you rate the whitetail hunting in Florida?
Scale of 1 to 10, honestly, it'd probably be maybe a 2 or a 3. A 3 with a good buck, but it's a lot of work, and the guarantee level is just it's low. It's low. Even if you put hard work in and have private land and you could be feeding them with corn, it's probably a 2 to a 3.
Okay. So most people think that their whitetail hunting really isn't that great, but you do have something unique where you have saltwater fishing, you have great freshwater fishing, and then you have Osceolas. That's one of the rare things that Justin has in his location that nobody really has outside of that Florida region. So if you have, let's just call it even mediocre whitetail hunting, I know a guy that was in Nebraska that he's only ever seen 4 whitetails in his entire life. So you show him 5 whitetails, you've shown him more whitetails than he's seen in his entire life. Don't underestimate what you potentially have. You can trade a whitetail hunt for a waterfowl hunt. You can try to trade a whitetail hunt for a mule deer hunt, an elk hunt. There's guys in Alaska that are willing to have people up. And the thing with Alaska, certain species you need a guide, but if you go with a resident, you don't need a guide. You're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in savings. Now your plane ticket's going to be real expensive, but is still going to save you a butt ton of money.
Right.
And Cervicide has those connections. It's just a matter of putting yourself out there and finding out where they're at. We want to facilitate the best that we can, but you got to be willing to ask.
Yeah, for sure. And that was one thing that, you know, I had Tucker and Trevor come down here, and we got Tucker a bird, but we didn't get Trevor's bird. So, you know, obviously just the kind of person I am, I really wanted to do something for him because we didn't get him a turkey. So I told him straight up, I'm like, man, I'll take you to some spots and you'll catch some monster bass. So I was like, what's the biggest bass you caught in Ohio? I want to say it was maybe like 2 or 3 pounds, he said, and that was considered a good one. He caught a 5-pound bass down here 30 minutes into fishing. He was like, oh man, there's my trip. That was awesome. It fought good. So he was happy with that. You know, and like you said, Torrin, just piggybacking off of it, every single that's when I started thinking a little bit more, and I wish I don't downplay my deer. I do like the dark antlers and stuff, but as far as their body, they are smaller body. But I always thought outside the box with, well, guys, I got fishing. We'll go saltwater fishing. Cody came down here. We turkey hunted in the morning, and we actually shark fished. He always wanted to catch a shark. He told me I'd love to catch a shark. I was like, dude, sharks are easy to catch down here in Florida. It's not an issue at all. So we went out in the canoe. He actually got on a huge hammerhead shark in the middle of the Gulf in the canoe. It was pulling the canoe, pouring down rain. You know, the waves were hitting the canoe. It was a crazy awesome time. You know, it just doesn't have to just be hunting. It can be anything. I'm surprised someone hasn't hit me up just to come down here and like fish and like go to like Disney World or something.
And there's a lot of waterfowl nuts within the group too. So trading if you want to consider getting into waterfowling, there's a lot of people that I know are willing to take people out in a hunt swap to shoot ducks at a lot cheaper than going with an outfitter, and a lot cheaper than doing it on your own.
Yeah, for sure. Most of these hunt swaps I've been on, you know, I make, you know, normal amount of money. I live normal just like everyone else. I would definitely consider myself middle class, and I do not spend a lot of money on these hunt swaps. It's actually to the point now where I'll get the person like a little gift or something just because I want to, you know, spice up the deal. I went trout fishing with Jeremy, and I gave him an old fly rod that I had gotten from Lefty. And you know, when I went to Tucker, there was a deer ornament, and it had 22 shells, and that was the deer ornament, was 22 shells. I got that for him and his family. You know, he just had a baby, him and his girlfriend and their baby. I thought that was super cool and family oriented. But anyways, before I jump down that rabbit hole, I don't spend much money. Normally, I would say the plane ticket or the gas is normally the most expensive thing that I'll get. And most of the time, I think the most I've ever spent on a ticket was like 175. You know, I usually put it on the credit card, get the points, and then pay it off when I get back. But they're really not a lot of money. And like you said, Torrin, I mean, gosh, you go out of state and hunt with a guide. I mean, you're looking at a minimum of a couple $1,000s. I can honestly tell everyone, I don't think even with having fun and going out to the bar and doing whatever, I don't think I've spent more than on a high end, maybe $600 on a high end. And that includes food and everything.
What did Tucker say when he was looking up what it was going to cost him for an Osceola hunt? Wasn't it like $2,000 or something?
It was around 2,500, and it was with one that didn't even guarantee a bird. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
And what did it cost him? $400?
You know, it would cost at least $2,000, and I think that was just to go. I don't think that was actually like the lodging and stuff. So, that's for a turkey. That's for a 30 pound or less turkey. You're gonna spend what it costs to mount a deer. Don't it usually cost around that to mount a deer? So I don't. It's definitely saves you a lot of money with this Cervicide program. And the thing about saving money is anyone can do it. Put a little bit from your check, save a couple seasons, and then plan something big or what have you. Um, but we're kind of open mic here. Torin, we got probably looks like about 10 minutes or so left, and we'll be at 8 o'clock. Um, do you feel like anybody want to dive into something maybe a little deeper with hunt swaps, or maybe something that's a little unclear or questionable, or really
Well,
anything?
Justin, if you want, since we got such a tight knit group here, if somebody wants to raise their hand and take the mic and kind of just hop on the mic here, you're more than welcome to. Justin can make you live, and you can take over if you have any questions. I'm sure Justin can answer it. He's been on so many, and then I can help you out with anything that's related via website or that needs to go directly through Cervicide.
They just have to raise their hand, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you guys just raise your hand if you want to jump on the mic. About to post on the swap page now. Nice.
This, and I want to say this for everybody on the webinar. If you're a field staffer, this is a great way to get video content for submissions for payouts. So if you end up like tagging out in your home state and you can go to another state to a hunt swap, you might be able to have a cameraman, kind of like what Dylan was saying there. So now you're looking at potentially, if you're a whitetail hunter, you're looking at potentially $1,000 there. If you're in a state that only has one buck tag.
Gave away.
And there your whole hunt stock's easily covered.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And that's that thinking outside the box, for sure. And I always tell everyone, man, you can even switch off. I normally, if someone comes down here, I'm like, hey, we'll put the footage together. But I normally just let them have it and use it, and they can use it to cover those expenses, like you said, of the trip. And actually, while we're talking about this, little rabbit hole will jump down. Hunt swaps are not limited to your state. I've been to an hour away to duck hunt with a guy, really good duck hunter, and I wanted a duck hunt. So I straight asked him, I'm like, hey man, think I can kind of like come under your wing and kind of watch you do the basics, do a little skeet shooting and kind of get the hang of duck hunting. And he taught me a lot of basics. He was more than happy to show me how to skin a duck, how to cook a duck, how to shoot a duck. I mean, he showed me everything, from what kind of shotgun shells to use, to actually how to skin out the bird, to even training his bird dog, teaching him soft mouth, with the wings and things like that. So, I hunt with Justin, who lives about 45 minutes away, and Chris, who lives about an hour or so away. We actually are meeting up this weekend to do some hunting, and we link up all the time. We link up as much as we can. So, link it up with other members is a good swap too. Justin owns some private land, so he'll let me come kill some hogs there, and I'll take them to my secret spots on public land. It's kind of a good trade there.
Justin's a big upland hunter, and he's been hunting with Brian Falchuk, and they're actually going to Africa now for a hunt swap. And that's how big of an upland hunter Justin is.
And this is how crazy it was. I met Justin through Chris. Chris was in the program. He said that he had an Army buddy, and I was in the Army, so normally that happens. And he said, hey, he wants to join Cervicide. Justin called me. This was before I even started working here. I talked to him about the program. He was interested. He joined. Well, me and Brian used to talk a lot. So then Justin and Brian started talking a lot. I introduced them. It's literally that simple where you meet and become friends with someone, and then they become friends with someone, and then they just met last season. Justin's been up there twice, really got into upland bird hunting. It's something that his dad used to do with him, and he really had a passion for it, but he was in the military and he couldn't do it. Um, so he's literally like living his dream of what he wanted to do, and now they're going to Africa. Like, how crazy is that?
Justin said that, or Brian told me that it's one of Justin's favorite things to do that he looks forward to every year is going up to Brian's house and hunting pheasants, grouse, and woodcock. And I mean, dude, that if you want to talk about devaluing potentially what you have in your own backyard,
Yep.
that's one of those things. Like
Yep.
the grass is always greener. I'm telling you.
It is. It definitely is. We just had a guy join from Hawaii, and this guy hunts. I was like, "What do you hunt in Hawaii?" They have axis deer, but they have feral goats. Feral goats. His last name is Black. He's on the app, and whew, I tell you what, my girl would probably kill me. But I'd be like, let's go on vacation in Hawaii. I'm gonna go hunt feral goats, and you can go do the Hawaii thing.
Yeah, I do the axis deer.
How crazy is that though? Like, I've never, like, I was talking to him and he's like, I don't have nothing to offer. And I'm like, well, what do you got? And he's like, axis deer, feral goats. I'm like, sold. You're sold. And you live in Hawaii, so right there is worth going to, knowing somebody. Let's see here. So, did anybody want to jump on the mic and ask any questions? Cool. But the main things, like we said, everyone is, and still feel free to jump in. We'll go ahead and cut this, unless anyone has anything else. But um, you got to jump in. It looks like this group of people that are on right now, you guys do jump in, all of you. I see y'all all the time. We talk all the time. But when you talk to other members, jump in. When you jump in, you're going to get the most out of the program. It doesn't have to just be paid videos or hunt swaps or whatever. There's so much more that Cervicide offers. Jason, especially you, I'm not putting you on blast at all, but as a new hunter, check out that hunt lab. Hunt in Missouri, talk to people. I know, Gabe kills a lot of big deer out there. We got a podcast. Torrin, if I'm not mistaken, I believe there's a couple podcasts on Missouri. There's a lot of material to listen to and watch. I'm driving to Virginia next week, and I've already picked the episodes that I want to listen to on the way up. For some things like thermals. I hunt in Florida. We don't hunt thermals, but I'm going to Virginia. I need to hunt some thermals. So I'm going to listen to the thermals videos. I'm going to listen to the mountain buck videos. It doesn't matter that I grew up, hunting in the mountains. That doesn't matter to me because I know that I can take something from everyone and apply it. And hopefully it'll help me be successful in another state. So definitely, that utilizing, and I've told everyone, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or you're an expert, there is something someone's doing that could help you be more efficient, or it might just be either a better way or a different way, or maybe you just want to switch up what you're doing. Um, definitely jump in. You guys can always hit us up if you have any questions. Just hit us up. If we don't respond on the weekends, it's normally because we're off. So don't think that we're ignoring you or anything. Torrance said, feel free to post on the app. But hopefully you guys get you some hunt swaps up. Dylan, I seen you just took a monster buck for your first buck. That's super exciting. My first buck was like a little wonky button buck. You definitely put me to shame there. It's awesome to see, and you got it on camera, which is even better. You're one step ahead of a lot of people. Let's see who else we got in here. Brennan's, I'd love to come up there and hunt some doves with you or some birds and stuff. You definitely look like you know what you're doing there. And I know you've been hunting some new private land. And then Brooke and David, I see you guys all the time. You guys are some hunting machines. All right. Well, that's all. Last chance. Does anyone have anything before we cut this? All right, cool. I think we're good. All right, everyone's good. Cool. Well, I will see you guys on the next one. If you ever have any questions at all about hunt swaps, you can either re-listen to this or just hit me up. Hopefully, we covered everything. And just remember too, those people you see on going on these hunt swaps, hit them up, shoot them a DM, shoot them a message on the app. Hey, I saw you were on a hunt swap. How much was the tag? Did you stay in a specific hotel in this area? Find me on the app, Dylan, if you want to come to Kentucky. So there you go. But all right. Well, everyone have a good night. Thanks for attending. And we'll put this recording up as soon as we can.
Thanks, Justin.
All right. See y'all later.